Hey guys, I am Foxtrot Delta and welcome back, finally, to some more Space Engineers. It's been some time since I've released a Space Engineers video. I do plan to make more of them in combination with the Star Trek Legacy videos, and I have created a new ship. I'd like to introduce you all to the Spectre Class Destroyer. It is not really based upon any Star Trek starship that I know of. I took some design elements from the Steamrunner class with those kind of inset nacelles fixed to the primary hull, and also the Saber class has a similar type of design, but in this case I have the nacelles somewhat hidden away behind the front so they cannot be hit unless they are aimed at specifically by something, and they have a good line of sight on them, so they're pretty well protected. And the ship overall has a very slim profile and lots of turrets. This ship has over double the firepower of my Ambassador class, the USS Exeter. So let's turn back on the HUD here. We have 12 of each kind of turret on the primary hull. You can see we have 6 missile turrets on top, as well as 6 Gatlings, and then 6 more missiles and 6 more Gatlings, so 24 in total over there. We also have, I believe, 5 interior turrets on the top back here and 3 on the bottom. Yes, I was correct. And furthermore, this ship is made specifically for combat. It has, well, every one of its turrets has a welder. And that is because it uses a projector and those welders to repair the turret. So if one turret is destroyed, let me just delete this one. It is welded back up and it will turn on. Yep, so it welds and it turns on all by itself. Because in a battle, if you lose a turret and it welds up, you want it to be ready to fire. So let's actually teleport my character into the ship. And I will give you, that's the wrong spot, and I will give you a tour of the inside. Let's turn the weapons off, though. So, weapon systems are off. So, why did I make this ship? I made this ship because I noticed that in battles I was getting my butt handed to me. My ships were made of tissue paper, practically, because they're all light armor vessels. This ship, the entire front section, is heavy armor. There goes my character off into the abyss. The entire front section is heavy armor, except for the very basic structure layout. There are some light armor blocks, but it's all light armor except for the nacelles. I made the nacelles, or it's all heavy armor, excuse me. The nacelles are all light armor. So that might be a slight design flaw, you might think, since literally almost all of my thrusters are stashed inside here. But that is the reason why I put the nacelles in the position they are, because if I made them all heavy armor, this thing would be a lot less maneuverable, and I need to have a lot more thrusters than I currently do, and I'm using modded gyros, so that tells you how difficult it is to get this thing to move. And that would just be enhanced if the entire thing was heavy armor. Plus, there's a lot of armor that goes into these nacelles. And my other ships are all light armor, and usually their nacelles fare pretty well. So I don't think that'll be too much of a problem. It also uses the shield mod at 50% shield regeneration rate, which is the default. It has just over 1 million shield health points, so very, very durable. What else can I say? I already mentioned the thing about the turrets being regenerative. We have 3 rocket launchers in the front. I'm debating about adding some kind of decoy countermeasure system. I just don't know where I should launch them from. I was thinking the sides, but there's not really a spot here for them. Let's get a nice profile here. So, as you can see, we have the primary hull. That's all heavy armor, sort of this half circle type of shape. Then we have the nacelles, and there's actually a gap in between the nacelle and the primary hull. And there's no real logical reason for that, other than the fact that maybe the Bassard collectors can collect atomic particles a little bit better when they're exposed, even though they're blocked by the ship anyway. But also, it just looks cool. It looks really cool. And in the aft section, we have more thrusters. Now, how about I give you a tour of the interior, because I'm sure that's what you guys want to see. We also have the deflector down there and the 2 shield emitters. so they are very well protected. Like I said, I made this ship because I wasn't really performing that well in fights. My ships were all light armor. It wouldn't go well. This thing is more than double the firepower I said in my Ambassador class, so it really can deal a whole bunch of pain. And that's why I made this. I made this really just for combat. Not exploration so much, although it does have about a 1900 and something kilometer jump range. But really it is just to fight things and to hopefully win. The interior I didn't do that much with compared to my other designs. I really focused on getting the outside as efficient and still nice looking as I could, as well as having enough room to put all of the welders and weapon systems and whatnot. So this is the port side, I believe, unless my directions are wrong. Yeah, this is the port side airlock, which really isn't an airlock. There's no air that goes in and out of here. But it does keep space out in the air in, so that's always good. Down this long hallway, we have another long hallway. This leads to the port cryopod area. A lot of crew capsules. Honestly, you don't need that many people on board this thing. Maybe, realistically, in space engineers, about 2. Maybe 3. But who knows. We also have another long hallway, which leads to another long hallway, which is the other side, the starboard cryopods. And in between, we have the medical bay, we have a couple passenger seats, and I might stash a few batteries back here because I have this empty space, and this thing doesn't have any batteries so far, it just has reactors. So I think I'll put some spare batteries back there, use up that space, make it look less awkward, or I'll end up pushing the med base back a block or so to fill in that extra space. It was hastily put together. This ship, like the Master Class, was built in one day. For the most part, it was one afternoon. And I finished it sometime in the early AM. I might film this section with light armor blocks, still not sure. I just wanted this thing functional as a fighting vessel, and it is. It is. So we've seen the front section with the medbay and cryopods. Let's head up to the bridge. Unlike all of my previous designs, this ship's bridge does not let you see directly outside, and there are no cameras. You have to use the third-person mode. I might put a camera or several cameras on the front eventually, but right now third person works just fine. I have 3 screens up here showing you your acceleration, or not your acceleration, your velocity vector, your artificial horizon is there, any type of gravity fields, artificial and planetary, and we have the digital clock because it looks cool. Over here we have hydrogen and electricity remaining, or our current energy consumption. And we have velocity again right there. That's all there is to the bridge. We have the command seat. We have rockets. We have rear thrust. We have the beacon. We have turrets, number 4. 5 is the antenna, and shields are button number 6. I do love the shield mod, by the way. One of my favorite mods by far. That's the Defense Shield mod. All of the mods for this ship will be in the description down below, as well as the Steam Workshop link. I actually have yet to upload this, so I will definitely put this up in the workshop and get a description for you guys who want to try it out. Let's keep going down, because I do have something special planned. So this is engineering. As I mentioned before, the interior is not really that well refined or furnished. I just really crammed things in here as much as I could to get it functional. We have 2 main large reactors with gravity generator. Here are those modded gyros I talked about before. We have a projector for the weapons repair system. Shield controllers are back here. Shield modulator and enhancer are up here. And we have a vent. Hydrogen generation is in here, as well as in the nacelles. And I believe we also have 2 hydrogen tanks, not in the hull area, but in the, in the nacelles. Now this thing does gobble hydrogen very quickly. So, ideally you should always have the H2 generators running. There are a lot of cargo containers to store ice. That's not cargo. Cargo. Okay, there aren't that many, but there's enough to store a lot of ice. And so you can keep producing hydrogen and oxygen when needed. You can also store uranium for the reactors. You can directly access those cargo containers from engineering or any part of the ship that's connected to the conveyor system. let's go back up to the bridge area and double check that nothing is glitched out. Okay, everything works. The maneuverability of this thing, first of all, look at the rate of spin. So we're not quite going on any one axis, we're going on two axes right now with the rotation. With one axis, it really flips. And that's just so you can dodge enemy turret fire, make quick maneuvers. This uses Tier 2 thrusters, not Tier 4 from the Tiered Engine Super Pack. I'll have a link to that in the description as well. That is because of the multiplayer server I am usually on. They ended up limiting the tier of thrusters you can use in your ships, so now the max is Tier 2 hydrogen. So that is what I built this for. Any other cool things I forgot to mention? It goes from 0 to 100 in about 3.5 seconds. Up and down, it's a little bit slower, but still pretty quick. It can support itself in planet gravity. Not too well on the alien planet with the upwards and downwards thrust, but forward and backward, there's no problem. And left to right, it gets up to about 100 meters per second in roughly 10 seconds. I did time it because I don't know, I'm a perfectionist like that. I like to know all the little details. And one of the major advancements I made with this design over my others was my nacelle designs. And I will update some of my earlier ships with these. So these nacelles I made to look like next generation nacelles. This is a Section 31 ship. That has nothing to do with the nacelles, but everything to do with how cool it looks. But the nacelles I wanted to look like roughly mid to maybe late next generation, something similar to the Galaxy class. And I actually retrofitted one of my Ambassador class versions with larger versions of these nacelles. You guys are going to see an advanced sneak peek of that. Let's nacelles. I am going to eventually update my versions of the Ambassador class on the Steam Workshop with this nacelle design. I really love the way it looks. Let's just put this here. I have so many lights going on in the game right now, they aren't all going to render at once. Yeah, look at that, they disappear. But yeah, you can see that they are a lot more rounded looking. They seem to fit the Ambassador class a little bit better than the other ones. They're wider. The only issue was getting the Bassard collectors to look right. It's really difficult to make solid armor glow red, and I really tried. I filled this thing with spotlights and interior lights, and I have lights on the exterior as well, and also on the Spectre over here, I have lights opposite the Bassard collectors to shine on them, to give them that reddish glow, to make it look like lights coming from within. I think that actually looks really cool, and I think I did a decent enough job on the Ambassador class as well, so I will update that blueprint eventually. But enough about that. Let's delete the Exeter for now. Now, I made this ship for combat, I already told you that, but let's actually try it in combat. I have my Borg Cube over there, and actually, to do a comparison between the two, I'm first going to fight it with my Ambassador class, which I just showed you. So, you know what, let's spawn it back in. Let's spawn it back in. Again, this is the Ambassador class that is not on the workshop. It does have shields, and it also uses the Tier 2 thrusters. Definitely one of my favorite designs I've ever made. I didn't think I'd make another Star Trek ship after this, but I really... I just knew I had to make something to combat with other designs out there that could hold its own in a fight, and I really think the Spectre is the answer to that. It's still not done. I will keep updating it as new ideas pop into my head for it to be more combat effective. And the Ambassador class also is a running project. I'll add more things to it as new ideas spring into my head. Okay, down in the center section we actually have the armored Tier 2 thrusters. But anyway, we have shields on this as well, so both of these Star Trek ships I'm going to use do have shields. The shields on this, however, are only 557,000. What I can try to do is I can try to lower the recharge rate, which also means my overall health will go up on the shields. Let's set that to 40. And this ship only has 16 turrets. Whereas in total, all of my turrets combined, including the interior turrets on the Spectre, has 32. So I say it has twice the firepower, but really, like, 10 of those turrets are interior ones. But it can still beat this in a fight, no problem. But anyway, we are attacking the Cube. Cube 2163. The Cube does not have shields. I think actually there might be a shield emitter on it, but I decided, I elected not to engage them because there's so much heavy armor there, it would make the shields impenetrable. Alright, engage the turret systems, and we are firing. You guys wanted to see the Ambassador class in a battle, here is your chance. Shields have overloaded. Yeah, it doesn't perform that well. Let's quickly grab our free cam over here. It does not perform that well against the Borg Cube. Its shields quickly collapse. There are pieces flying off. Port nacelle has taken a hit. Shields are back online. Oh dear, that's a lot of damage. All the more reason why I'll probably end up adding decoys to the Spectre, because I really want to distract from the vital areas where the thrusters are housed and the turrets, if I can. So I'm just going to keep on charging the Cube here, bring all my turrets to bear on it, fire the rocket launchers beneath. It's not rendering the weapons in right now, it's shooting, but believe me, a lot of explosions are going on. One of my turrets is careening off and impacting on the Borg Cube's surface. No, it just missed. But that was... It was just destroyed, actually. Yeah. Not a good time. The 2 forward / observation lounge area has been hit. It is missing. Most of it, actually, is not there. Now we are out of their weapons range. Let's slow down. I'm hearing things clank around inside. Ooh, that piece of wreckage just impacted on the back end of the saucer. Yeah, we are not having a real good time. Let's charge them again. And I know I'm not being as tactically smart about this battle as I could. I could just do a bunch of hit and runs, keep the shields up the whole time, but I really want to get through this and get to the battle with the Spectre, because that is going to be really cool. So I wanted to show you how quickly this thing becomes de-armed and de-shielded. Right now we've lost the majority of our turrets underneath. Above, we're doing a pretty good job with those Gatlings. Nope, we just lost one. Okay, we have lost most of our weapons. Now let's do a nice... Oh dear. Oh, I think we've lost oxygen on the bridge. We're about to lose the bridge. We've lost gravity in the saucer. Everything is falling apart. Alright, now let's do my favorite thing ever. Lower the shields. Turn off rear thrust. Forward thrust, full speed. Full override. Aim ourselves at the Borg Cube. We're gonna do a ram. Let's see how this thing's light armor compares to their heavy armor. Now, I do not have a speed mod enabled currently. Oh, jeez. Alright, let's turn off that. Let's grab the entity list, Borg Cube, D-Power. And let's stop everything. Okay. The Ambassador class is toast. It can still fly. But it is not salvageable. However, you do get a nice cutaway view of all of the decks in the saucer. There are 4 of them. Very cool. How's the Borg Cube doing? We have a couple turrets that are offline, but the welders are doing their job. If the welders are still there, each turret only has 1 welder, although I see no reason why I couldn't add 3 or 4 welders to each turret, which is something I might do in the future. However, because of some multiplayer limitations, I could only have so many welders on a ship. Here's where the ramming was. That was quite a gash we did there. Look at that. Then again, this is only 1 block thick. So the cube did sustain a lot of damage, but there, let's see, I did turn off all the power. The remote control is still fine, and it's largely combat capable still. At least I think it is. Now let's get out my Spectre Class Destroyer and show you how a real battle is fought. And potentially won. Alright, we are now in the Spectre. You might notice that Mars is gone. That's because I only spawned it in for that 1 world. I restarted the world now, and everything I spawned in before was well, it's missing now. But that's not important. Let's turn on the turrets. The projector is already on, so all of our welders will be welding. Also, I mentioned the jump range on this is pretty significant, considering it's mostly all heavy armor. It's almost 2,000 kilometers. Okay, turn off rear thrust. Rocket launchers are on. And of course we can't see what we're aiming at, but that's okay, we do not need to. Not yet. Shields are active. As a matter of fact, I think shields will stay up for most of the time. I'm going to slow down before I reach them so that my turrets can get a maximum amount of fire on them. Okay, slowing. Opening fire. Changing direction. Oh yeah, let's not be here anymore. Let's get out of here. My shields are not gonna stay up. Okay, shields just are hanging in there. What is the damage done to the cube? How much damage have they suffered? I know I've suffered none. Alright, they are missing this section of turrets, this section of turrets, this section of turrets. That appears to be it for the moment. Oh, and that turret is gone. Its welder is destroyed. We cannot let them escape. Let's try to drop down beneath these missiles. I was not very successful in doing so. Let's get out of here. Shields are recharging. Alright, a little more damage done that time. They're on fire. Any internal damage? Some. A few thrusters were knocked out. And the antenna's gone, which will make them hard to track. No, actually it won't, because there's a beacon as well. Okay. I know what I'm talking about. Alright, this time let's set the shield recharge rate to 40. So let's get the shield health points up to what? Up to 1.137 million. That's where it will settle at once it's charged. Alright, the shields are charged, and this time if they go down, I'm just going to let them go down. And we'll see if this ship's hull and its weapons and turrets can stay active for longer. And hopefully I can keep the nacelles away from their, the incoming fire. Now let's slow down. Opening fire. Let's drop. thrust up and down is identical. I just chose an arbitrary direction. Holding up pretty well. Let's get a good view of this. Look at that scene. That's incredible. They're hurting, I'm hurting, we're all hurting. Shields are about to drop. Want to keep the nose of the ship to them. Maybe start rotating a bit, keep the bridge away. Protect the thrusters. Alright. We have lost one turret, it looks like. They damaged 2 turrets. They damaged the welders. Let's get the ventral side towards them, if we can. Controller. Let's set the recharge back to 50. But my shields are not dropping as quickly this time. It's because we've taken out a lot of their turrets. And we have lost quite a few, but not as many as we would have if we did not have those welders repairing them. Let's use the underside turrets if we can. Back away. Slip down underneath. I'm thinking if I cannot make a countermeasure deployment system, I might put a couple decoys in the nose and have them on welders. Speaking of the nose, let's keep that to them. It's heavy armor. I mean, the whole thing's heavy armor, really. Alright, let's get out of here if we can. Because we're losing pieces. Alright, how many turrets do we have? Still quite a few. A lot of them are interior turrets. We still have 4 missile turrets. Are those on? Let's see. We have 3 there. And there must be 1 up above. No? Yes, there is 1 up above. So we've taken quite a bit of damage to the turret area. The nacelles still seem to be intact for the most part. Although our ability to slow down has slowed down. We are on fire. We are still in better shape than the Ambassador class without its shields. And our shields are back up and almost fully charged. So let's head back in. If we have to, we'll ram them. But I am rapidly getting new design ideas as the battle continues. Because I know I do want to use decoys. The ship is just so small, it'll be hard to fit them. Those interior turrets are really grinding at their turrets. Now, one of the issues behind why our turrets are not being repaired could be because our projector is missing. Let's take a look at where that was. So engineering must have been hit. It leads me to think perhaps I should invest in more projectors. That projector was right in front of the gravity generator, which it looks like it was squeezed by this buckling hull plating in the front. But everything's largely intact on the inside. Let's see, where did I put that one air vent? Is it... okay, we have lost pressure in there. We still have pressure in the bridge, which is unheard of in most of my ships. So I'm thinking I should add a second projector, at least, somewhere else in engineering. And I might put, let's see, maybe a decoy in this area by the antenna. And just have a welder constantly weld it. Okay, what's the cube like? Because I know we've made quite a few passes on them. And the battle isn't over yet. Except for the fact that I think it might be over yet. Hold on. Let's look. Oh, wait a second. Hey, they lost their... yeah, the battle's won. They've lost their remote control. I don't know when they lost it, or how long I sat there being blown to bits after they had lost it, but they have lost it. So that cube is now offline as far as movement goes. I'm still online though, so what I'm gonna do, I am going to ram the cube with this vessel. The entire front, I don't know, 5 or 6 blocks of the nose is just heavy armor. There are no gaps in there at all. It's just made for ramming things. So, let us do that. Lowering shields, because those will just make us bounce off. Full speed. Into the cube, just for fun. We lined up, I think we're lined up. They're shooting me, I'm shooting them. It's all a bad time for everyone. Now, I didn't go that deep into the cube because I didn't get all of my nose sheared off like I usually do. Let's raise the shields again. Look at that. Most of the nose is still there because it's all heavy armor. And there's where it hit. Let's see, how many welders do I have online still? A lot of welders. So, if I, let's see, I don't have the... yeah, I do not have the projector anymore. If I still had the projector online, I would still have most of my turrets. So before I upload this, I will make a few modifications. I'll still think about maybe putting a launcher for the decoys, maybe using some space balls and decoys as some kind of gravity-fed countermeasure. I'm not sure yet. And I will add a couple redundant projectors. But this ship is mostly complete. It will be on the workshop. Keep an eye out for it. And you can probably blow up almost anything That cube is offline. I've tested this against the Ambassador class before. It doesn't stand a chance. The Ambassador class doesn't stand a chance, I should say. So I hope you guys enjoyed this battle using my new ship, the Spectre Class Destroyer, and the Borg Cube and the Ambassador class. Let's grab the Spectre again. Come on. If I double-click it enough times, it'll work. If I do the exact same thing enough times, I'll get different results. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave it a like, and if you are not subscribed and you want to see more, well then please subscribe, because I do plan to record more Space Engineers for the channel. If for whatever reason you guys did not enjoy the video, however, I do apologize for that, and I ask that you leave a comment in the comment section and let me know what it is that I can do to improve the next videos that I produce, so that hopefully you guys will be able to find some entertainment when you watch them. And if you guys want me to do any specific thing in Space Engineers, leave a comment down below. I know a lot of you wanted to see battles in Space Engineers, and I just discovered how to use the remote and waypoint system in Space Engineers, so I can make sort of AI-controlled battles. So you guys wanted me to try that out, and I did. So leave a comment with regards to that. As always, I am Foxtrot Delta. I hope that you guys are all having a thoroughly amazing day, and I will see you next time.